I think one of my favorite parts of what we have built over the last year, one of our EVP pillars is ideas welcome, impact expected. Everyone is encouraged to think boldly, but also empowered to drive real change, no matter what role you're in. And I think that's something that makes us really unique.
Welcome to today's episode of the Blu Thread Conversations podcast. At Blue Ivy Group, we've been lucky enough to partner with Crocs Inc. on their employer brand journey, one shaped by passion, creativity, simplicity, and co-creation, grounded in a culture as distinctive as the brand itself. Crocs Inc., the parent company of Crocs and HEYDUDE, is known worldwide for comfort and bold self-expression. Beyond the iconic footwear is a global team shaping an employer brand that reflects their people, values, and vision for the future. Today we're joined by Emily Morgan, Senior Talent Acquisition Manager, and Christy Kruse, Global Head of Talent Acquisition at Crocs Inc. Together, they're leading the charge to bring this evolving employer brand to life across multiple brands and markets. In this conversation, we'll explore what makes Crocs a special place to work, how the team is aligning diverse voices across the organization, and what's ahead as they prepare to launch their new employer brand. We'll also discuss activation, measurement, and the lessons they've learned along the way. And because it wouldn't be Crocs without a little fun, we'll wrap things up with a rapid-fire round inspired by the brand's playful culture. With that, let's dive into the conversation.
Good morning. Good morning. Exciting day today because I have a guest co-host, my colleague Fatima, and I'm a huge fan of the brand. I own several pairs. We have some killer people from Crocs, the TA team. So thrilled to have you join our podcast, Christy and Emily. So thank you. And Fatima, thank you for filling in for Stacy today.
Happy to be here.
Thanks for
We're thrilled.
having us. We're so
Yeah,
excited.
Oh,
Yes, my
thank
first
you. Thank
podcast.
you. Oh, yay. So let's start first. Why don't you share with our listeners a little bit about your role and what you do at Crocs?
Sure. So I'll go first. I lead global talent acquisition here at Crocs Inc. I have made my journey on my first year. I just had 1 year with the organization, and really fortunate to lead a team that supports both our global corporate and retail recruitment organization. So it's quite a journey and an honor.
And how many pairs of Crocs do you have, Christy?
Oh, before I joined, I was not wearing any. My kids were wearing plenty, but I would probably say between Crocs and HEYDUDE, I probably have around, I don't know, 12 or 15 pairs now.
Please don't ask me that same question because I will feel really bad when I answer that they are split between 2 closets.
Oh,
I love it. Well, that's not bad.
repping the
Well,
brand.
we
That's
have to
good.
share that, Emily. So, yeah, exactly. Tell us then, Emily. Tell us about your role and what you do and how many pairs of Crocs you have.
So, I work on Christy's team, and I am so fortunate to be able to really drive our retail global business, support some of our corporate partners, and then over the last year, year and a half, employment brand, which is what we're going to talk about today, which is passion area for me for sure. Okay, if I have to disclose my number of shoes, hopefully no one from my family or financial advisor listens to this podcast because they'll probably be talking to me about my spending. I have well over 100 pairs between Crocs and Hey Dude together, which is why they are split in the house. I ran out of room.
Oh my
Wow.
gosh, I love that. Okay.
That's a
Um,
fun fact I did not know.
Fun fact.
Yes.
Thank you for sharing, Emily. Safe space here. And Fatima, since you, my wonderful colleague, is filling in for Stace, why don't you share with the listeners what you do at Blue Ivy Group?
I would love to. Hi, listeners. I'm Fatima. I have been with Blue Ivy Group for about 4 years, and I help incredible brands elevate their culture and employee experiences. And I just wanted to say I am especially excited for today's conversation because I had the chance to partner very closely with Crocs on their employer brand journey. And it's truly been one of the most collaborative and energizing projects that I've been part of, and not to mention with an iconic brand. I don't have 100 pairs of Crocs. That's the goal. What really stood out to me throughout our work together was just how approachable the culture feels, making people feel really welcome, while also having that ambitious and very performance driven edge. And you don't often see those two qualities come together, both playful and high performing. And so, actually, I'd love to kick it to you, Emily and Christy. What do you feel makes Crocs Inc. such a unique and special place to work?
I think for me, this is going to sound a little bit cliche. So when candidates ask me this too, it's both my favorite thing to answer and sometimes my least favorite because it's really important for me as a recruiter to be authentic and tell authentic stories. I think that's really important. So it can sound a little bit canned, but it really is. For me, it's the people. We have such incredible, bright, team members from all walks of life that I get to partner with every day. And I leave meetings. I've been with the brand for about 4 years now. I still to this day leave meetings going like, I cannot believe we just did that, or we talked about that, or I met this person that did this in their past or is doing this now for the brands. And I think it's just really a testament to kind of where we look for talent, how we look to bring all different kinds together, and really also how the brand celebrates and creates space for people to be able to be their authentic selves, not be afraid of bringing, bold kind of ideas that might be out of the box. And I don't know that that's so common everywhere else. It really is something that I think makes us unique and sets us apart.
Ditto. And I mean, talent is what we do for a living, but I think, who you're surrounded by every single day matters in how you show up and how you perform and what you do. And this, you know, community at Crocs Inc. is very, very rich in talent and kind of this unique expertise in retail and footwear, and you don't always see that. So it's been amazing to be a part of. And then I think the other thing that is really unique about Crocs is the way in which we engage with our customers. So our marketing engagement with customers and consumers is like I've never seen it before. And I've been in retail for 25 years, and the touch points, the uniqueness, and the frequency in which we engage, I do think kind of sets us apart and has been really fun, certainly to learn and be a part of.
Yeah, I love that. I heard that throughout our conversations in focus groups too, especially going back to the people. That's what everyone said about each other. It was how collaborative, how supportive, how engaged people are. And so it seems to be a sentiment that, carries through no matter who you're speaking to. It comes back to the people. That's something we heard a lot. One thing that really struck me when talking about people and talking about perspectives and the number of people was just how many different perspectives came together. We're talking about marketing, communications, creative, TA, HR, leaders, colleagues from US, Canada, Netherlands, UK, India, Singapore, China. I know I'm missing places, but it showed just how global and inclusive this effort has been. But also, with so many voices in the mix, alignment is always a big question. And so, would love to hear from you what it's been like, one, working across so many teams at Crocs and Hey Dude and the people within those teams, but also how did you get alignment across so many different teams and different priorities?
Yeah. I think it's a fair question, and I think Emily and I might describe it as like a little bit of a labor of love, right? But in all seriousness, I think it was also a tremendous amount of fun. But I think we started with we had the leadership alignment from the start of the project and the work. We knew how important it was to the organization, and we started with the executive leadership team and had that champion and partnership from our chief people officer and our executive leadership team to say, we know we have a really cool and compelling story to share both internally and externally, and kind of gave us permission to help continue to drive that alignment because it's not always as easy as one might think or feel, especially in a multi-portfolio business. and a global footprint where we want to make sure we hear voices from our Singapore office, our distribution center in Las Vegas, or our retail stores. So I think having that initial alignment from a leadership team certainly helped. And then I think how we continue to have those pulse points and check in on milestones throughout our journey definitely helped us stay aligned throughout the process. And those were probably the harder or more trying times just to make sure that we were still tracking the same way.
And I'm curious, like Christy and Emily, what was their main objective? Like the executive team, like you have, because everyone knows Crocs, such a strong brand. So what was their driving force? Like, what did they really want to achieve by doing this work?
Yeah. I'll start by, I'm sure has some perspective and ideas as well, but I think so. Crocs and HEYDUDE like are still
Yeah.
young, like well-known brand, especially Crocs. But HEYDUDE is still young for us. I mean, we've had HEYDUDE for under 3 years, and um, the story and the voice from a consumer perspective is still continuing to build. And then on the flip side, we really wanted Crocs and HEYDUDE to be recognized as this unique place to work because it has so much of the differentiation. And we wanted to make sure we positioned that in the marketplace in kind of our Crocs and HEYDUDE kind of way. So externally, we wanted to have that voice and then also bring a little bit of that energy and realization internally as we engage with our internal associate population.
I would totally agree. I would say, for what maybe started as looking at creative and how we go to market, the other thing that I would say that really came through in this project very early on is it wasn't just about that. It was about defining what does our EVP look like at the enterprise level. Because we have two, as Christy said, two very distinct brands. So it went beyond just creating great visuals and good messaging. We spend time really in the focus groups with employees across all the levels to make sure that what we built was really authentic to who we are.
Now, I understand you haven't launched this amazing work yet, right? Like, so you haven't officially launched yet, right?
I would say we've done, I'll use the word like soft launch.
Okay.
So we've introduced certainly to kind of our greater HR community, so inclusive of talent acquisition. And we actually, I think end of this week or early next week, we'll be having broader communications go out to the organization on some of the tools and resources that we've built together. So whether or not that's LinkedIn banners or our reference and toolkits. Our teams are already starting to, talent acquisition teams are already starting to use some of the collateral. So I would say we're in a soft launch phase, but you do see it starting to pop up.
So can you share, like, Emily and Christy, you mentioned earlier, like, you're kind of blown away, and I'm blown away by particularly, like, I'm more familiar with Crocs, like how they engage with the customer, and it's such a unique, fun brand. Do you have some kind of what are some of your ideas that you're thinking of doing maybe as a hard launch, or what are you hoping to achieve as you launch this incredible work and story?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think our focus is really on kind of a shared ownership approach, both with employees and leaders, not just as participants, but really as co creators of the brand experience. We're empowering teams, to spotlight, whether that's passion projects, career, journeys and experiences, how they're living our values day to day. I think that'll be a really important part of the next part phase, and also how we're engaging our newly formed brand ambassadors across the globe. And I think for our leaders, it's about equipping them with tools and language that helps embody the brand from the inside out, not as a script, but as something that they can live and really lead through.
That gets me so excited, like co-create and doing that in partnership, like so smart.
Absolutely. And it ties into that other piece of work, which is it's making sure that recruiters and managers and leaders have the right tools to activate. And then that launch is really the kickoff. And thinking about that, when we talk about tools to activate, a lot of times when people think of employer brand, they think about it being a tagline or, something that you put on a poster, but it's so much more than that. It's those daily moments that people actually feel. And you both have taken the time to really understand it. And you've been so intentional about defining and articulating it. And now you're providing the tools for other people to do the same. But as you move into activation, how are you engaging your employees and leaders to bring that to life? In terms of providing them with the tools, how are you ensuring that it is showing up in moments like recognition or onboarding or even attraction and hiring? How are you bringing it to life with your employees and your leaders?
I have to giggle a little bit when you say, posters or Chrissy and I talked often at the beginning of this project and ideation. It was really important to us and for both brands that it wasn't just something that you saw on our career site. It was something that you really feel every day when you come to work. And at Crocs and Hey Dude, we've been really thoughtful about how the brand shows up for the whole employee journey. So whether that's onboarding, internal communications, how we recognize and celebrate our teams. I think one of my favorite parts of what we have built over the last year, one of our EVP pillars is ideas welcome, impact expected. And for us, it's really not just a tagline. It reflects how we work. Everyone is encouraged to think boldly, but also empowered to drive real change, no matter what role you're in. And I think that's something that makes us really unique.
We heard so many examples in focus groups, like everything from onboarding that felt really personal to like even showing compassion and empathy during difficult times. And it's so powerful because your employer brand is not a new story. It's just giving your people the language to what's already been there, the tools and the language to what's already been there.
It's almost like giving definitely the tools, but also like it's okay to talk about who we are and what we do, whether or not it's community and philanthropic or, really excited about something that happened in the store or the distribution center. So it's a little bit of like giving the permission and okay. And I think the tools and resources then just help amplify and showcase us the way that I think we all feel we are here at Crocs Inc.
Speaking of impact, um, what do you wanna see, right? Why is because the team has said that, and what a unique and special thing about your culture, fun and personable, but also high performing and want to see, impact and progress. So what are you hoping to see, Christy and Emily? Like, what are some goals you have with this work?
Yeah, I mean, I think ultimately we want to make sure we have compelling stories to engage, certainly with external candidates, but also to really highlight or remind or showcase, kind of our internal population, how unique and special we are. We don't always get it right. And there are days that are challenging, but I would say more often than not, we have some really fun ways in which we work. What we do at the end of the day is creating really cool shoes for our customers. So I think we want to make sure that shows up in kind of all things that we do. But I think with you know, seeing how the new tools or resources work for us, we can then make different decisions or adapt or adopt new things that we would want to share, either with our internal population or with our external candidates.
Christy, I'll never forget, I met a company through, like, Great Place to Work, and they didn't invest more in training. They just decided to, for whole an entire year, remind people what they offer, and it impacted their engagement score, right? So reminding people, and we so forget that about employer branding, reminding people about all the good
Yeah.
that's there, the good people, like the all of that is enough. We don't have to just keep on piling new programs, new initiatives, right? So I love that you call that out, Christy.
Yeah. When we
Yeah.
have a mantra value here of like inherently simple, and I do think sometimes we have to kind of keep that front and center in all
Mhm.
the things that we do. And sometimes the simple things of how you engage or how you recognize, but again, whether or not that's internal or external, really do matter.
Emily, what progress are you seeing so far? I know it's early days, but are you seeing any little
Yeah,
wins?
I do. We Christy just came out of and we had our town hall with our chief people officer actually yesterday. And she was sharing that happens at the ELT level for us. And so they were kind of sharing some of the feedback and the wins, and they were talking about talent. And they actually, our chief people officer and some of the language that they were using in ELT, they were talking about things like ideas welcome, impact expected. And I think for me, that was like a heartwarming, like, wanted to like celebrate, like we did it because that is an organic, authentic conversation. And when you have an employee population that starts, to adopt that without, we of course have the ways that we want to activate. But again, it was important for us that this was real for everyone and that it felt authentic and that it wasn't something that was just a playbook. It was everyday language. And for us to be in the early phases of adoption and already see that from an organic side with our, team members and executive leadership felt like such a win. I was so proud, good thing I was on mute on the town hall because I wanted to like yell and celebrate because that's what we hope for when we, have spent the last year really making sure through the focus groups, through different ideations of this, that was a really big part for us that we wanted to make sure that we stayed anchored to.
Christy, you also mentioned, you don't always get it right, but you're always making progress. I feel like with this type of
Mhm.
work, it always leaves you with insights and learnings. What's one thing that you feel like you've learned in this process that you think other people might find useful or helpful?
I think for me, one of the biggest lessons that I learned early on in this is that employee branding isn't something that you build for people, it's something you build with them. Early on, I found it kind of tempting to craft a beautifully packaged message and then roll it out top down. But the real magic, like we just sort of talked about, is when you invite your employees and leaders into the process and when people feel ownership of the brand and see themselves reflected, and it naturally helps them become advocates. So I think my advice would be listen more than you speak, which Fatima knows can be hard for me. I love to chatter on. That's the recruiter, but listen more than you speak, co-create, don't dictate, and stay flexible because that's really where we saw kind of where we thought we would be, and then where we got was really where, the good stuff was.
Yeah, there's so much power in listening. And I can say employees were really generous with their stories. People were really generous with their stories and had so much pride and honesty to share that it became the foundation for everything. And it just reinforces that idea that culture is co created and not enforced or imposed. When you look back, what is one thing that you can say that you were the most proud of when you look back at all this work that you've done?
I think where we landed, right?
Hmm.
Like, there were, it was a long journey. There was lots of moving pieces and alignment or realignment. And I think um, how we got to the final finish line, I'm super proud of. It was also, you, Fatima and Jess know this really well. We had a very lean project team, Emily and I, supporting it. But I think because of the relationships and the touch points and the folks that we engaged with throughout the process, I'm super proud of where we ended. I think our EVP pillars resonated immediately with our executive leadership team when they saw them. It was kind of like, of course, this makes sense, but said in a very cool and kind of fun way. And then, where we landed with, even some of our marketing and collateral with customize your career. We talk about personalization within our shoes, and customize your career became a very kind of natural, like talent tagline, for lack of a better word. So I'm super proud of where we landed, and super happy to have had Emily as a partner in working with you guys too.
Emily, anything you want to add?
What Chrissy said, it really is what I'm also most proud of. I think being able to get to something, Fatima, I can like look back on some of our first sessions and I was like, oh, I don't know. I feel, overwhelmed or what direction is right. And you told me early on, trust the process. Like this is how it feels and we will get there. And then what do you know? And 6 months later, when we landed on customize your career and some of these EVP pillars that really just they're us. They're so authentically us. It feels almost so easy, even though I know the journey to that was a lot of work and labor of love with all of our creative teams. So I just feel really proud of what our end result was. And I think I had a hire that recently started in Netherlands, and he said, you know what? I just want to thank you. Everything I experienced from application to now being with the brand, being 3 months in, it is everything that I thought it was. And so to me, that means that we're doing it right. That's what we want. We want from early stage, whether you're just a consumer and you're more curious about Hey Dude, or you want to know about Crocs and what we're doing. And then if we get the fortune of adding you to our teams and our brand, that you feel that authenticity, whether again, consumer, employee, internal, external. And I'm really proud of that.
Yeah, and how incredible is that to just seeing how aligned everyone became under or around one shared story. Crocs, Hey Dude, very different or different brands, but under Crocs Inc., they really united in a very authentic way. And it was so cool to see that story come to life.
Christine, I'm like, anything that you want to add before we go to rapid fire that we haven't covered? You've really shared some real gems here, like simple, co-create, like some real gems here. So thank you, thank you, thank you to the both of you. And I hope you both feel so good about, I just can't believe the two of you and the work that's been like, wow. Anything you want to share before we go to our rapid fire questions?
I will say, while it was Christy and I on the HR side, we had really great sponsors, and stakeholders. So I do just wanna say, like, our creative teams on both sides were so patient and, helped guide our endless ideations and feedback. Our chief people officer, Shannon, without her being such a champion of this work, that could have been harder for us. And so, I just that would probably be my only thing to add. While we were the 2 kind of driving forces, we had a great teams internally that were helping us. And of course, Fatima, I can't miss an opportunity to hype you up. Really, the Blue Ivy team made this incredible for us, and we are just so thrilled.
Beautifully said. And I think, Fatima and Jess grounded us or re-grounded us when we were like, okay, what about this? And kind of brought us back to like our core purpose of what we were trying to anchor to. So trust the process. Should you, work with Blue Ivy, it was a really great experience.
Okay, rapid fire. Crocs team. What's your go-to Crocs color or style?
Ooh.
Crocs or Hey Dude?
That's gonna be hard when I have so many pairs. On the Crocs side, anything with height is my absolute favorite, and on the Hey Dude side, I'm a big fan of their sneakers.
Christy?
Classic clog that is the new canvas, the crafted. I just got them the other day. I love them.
Describe Crocs culture in one word.
Dynamic.
Great word.
Yeah, that I think I would say future focused.
Both awesome words. Now it takes special people to make this work happen. So people often ask us, what kind of competencies do people need to have to make this happen on a global basis, multiple brands, multiple countries? So, one word your team would use to describe each of you.
Hmm.
Do you answer it for each?
That's what I was gonna say. Um, I think if I was answering for myself, I would say passionate. And if I am answering on for Christy, um, the one word is hard, but I always describe her as our North Star. She is our
Okay.
support, our guiding light, the person that is always there to help reduce noise or challenge us in a different way of thinking. Um, so I know that's sort of cheating too. I'm doing bad at the one word answers.
No, we will make an exception because that's,
Wow.
yeah, perfect.
You're too kind, Miss Emily. Um, I probably would have chosen objective for myself. Just thinking about the role that I play, how I think I try to lead the team and kind of see things from different perspectives. Again, that's way more than one word. Um, and Emily is incredibly passionate, but she is also incredibly strategic with how she makes things move forward. So her ability to drive things forward, probably because of her passion and because of her relationships, um, allows her to accomplish many, many things and do it very, very well.
That's nice. Feel good about that. Some nice love there. If Crocs culture had a gibbets charm, oh, my kids are so into gibbets. What would it be? What would it be? Final question.
That's a really good one and kind of hard one. Um, I think I would go lightning bolt. We're bold. It can come in fast. We are about fast change, adapting fast, being agile, and lightning always carries energy. And I think at Crocs, we have a lot of great people that bring the energy and their passion to everything that they do. So I would go lightning bolt.
It's a
Interesting.
good choice.
Yeah.
Christy, what do you think?
Good way to describe it. Maybe similar but slightly different. Like it's something about like problem solving or driving change. So I don't know how to make a gibbet exactly out of that. So I don't know if it's like a light bulb or when you're problem solving, there's like stop, starts, go, yield, so something with a stop sign. But I think we are a business that is responding to the customer, and so our ability to problem solve and chase is really important. And I think those that continue to succeed, have a little bit of that drive and problem solving mindset.
We're going to see new gibbets soon. I feel this is in our
Yeah.
future. Fatima, thank you so much for co-hosting with me, and Christy and Emily, thank you, thank you, thank you. Such fans of the brands, and so thrilled that you were able to take time to spend with us today.
Thank you for
so much.
having us.
Yes.
Thank you both so much.
Very nice.